Okay, let's see if I can hear anything on this recording. I don't think I can. We're going to start with, what's her name? Melissa Curtis. Ugh, God, man, another file. We'll just call it file. I'm Bama Law. I've been a lawyer for over 11 years and did criminal and civil law, mostly criminal and marital. So I figure if everybody else can do this, I'm going to get in on it. All right. So God forbid, let's see what this woman's done. So at least she's been convicted of. Always remember that. Criminals or convicts will always tell you, don't say, what'd you do? No. What were you convicted of? It's a big deal to them. All right.
Sentenced to 30 years in prison after having sex with her 8th grade student inside a classroom. She got to know this 14-year-old at an after-school program, later plied him with alcohol and drugs, and then had sex with him more than 20 times.
Okay, wait a minute. What 14-year-old boy has that kind of opportunity? I know he had it in him. Holy crap. I can't believe it. That's a lot. And is she would we call her a file? I mean, if she was a dude, obviously, bam, already, boom, file. Not good.
32-year-old Melissa Curtis has now been convicted on 3 counts of third-degree sexual offense. But the fallout from her case is far from over.
Where do you see her?
I'm Sierra Gillespie, and this is Law and Crime News.
Her actual file.
This is a story we first told you about last year when our very own Jesse Weber broke down the case on Sidebar. It was back then, in October 2023, when an investigation into Melissa.
Do you know how many people I've had that actually have done this? Too many to even count. Do you know how many fit this bill? None. This ain't even normal. This is definitely not in the normal sphere. Oh my God. Most of my guys were so stupid they couldn't have counted to 3. Oh, you mean I had to register as a sex offender? No, you didn't. Alabama didn't require you to do that in your city and your county. No, you could just, call it in when you felt like it. Here's your 72-month sentence. Jesus Christ. I don't even believe this.
Curtis was first opened. Officials in Maryland got a tip from a now adult man reporting that he had a sexual relationship with Curtis when he was only 14. This was back in 2015 when Curtis was 22 years old and a teacher at Lakelands Park Middle School. That's in Gaithersburg, Maryland, about 25 miles northwest of D.C. That school year, Curtis volunteered to organize an after-school program, and that's where she got to know the victim. According to police, they had a lot of one-on-one time together during all this, and that's when the relationship crossed the line. In all, Curtis and the
as if it wasn't crossing the line to start with. No, it was totally cool. I was not doing anything with him at all. Never, no. Oh my God.
Grade student had.
If this had been one of my damn clients, he'd have gotten 100 years. It's a chick. She gets 30 and she's just wait. She ain't even gonna serve 30.
Sex more than 20 times over a month's long period. They had sex at
more than 20 times over a month. How many months? 2, 1.5, or 7? I don't know. It's still pretty. I can see being 14. Yeah. Oh yeah. You could do it that many. Totally. Probably a week.
At the school, inside classrooms, inside of Curtis's car, and even at the teenager's house. The victim told investigators Curtis also gave him alcohol and marijuana while their so-called relationship was ongoing. These sexual interactions went on for months until things finally ended in April of 2015. Curtis left the Montgomery County Public School District in 2017 after having worked there for 2 years. That's where everything ended for nearly a decade until this victim came forward to police last fall. He described their interactions, detailed their sexual encounters, and noted he was only 14 years old at the time. On October 31st, 2023, a warrant was issued for Curtis's arrest. A week later, on November 7th, 2023, she turned herself in. At the time, Curtis faced charges of sexual abuse of a minor and multiple counts of third and fourth degree offenses. It wasn't until June 20th of this year that Curtis pleaded guilty, and just this month, she was sentenced. Formally, Curtis received a 30-year sentence, but she won't actually spend that much time behind bars. All but 12 months of that sentence was suspended, meaning Curtis will only serve 1 year in prison. After her release, she'll be on supervised probation for 5 years. At that point, she'll also have to register as a sex offender for 25 years.
Oh, that's
and she has restrictions about seeing kids, too. The only children she'll be allowed to be around alone are her own kids.
Just like every other sex offender. That's all they can be around is their own children. Sometimes of the first degree, almost never other than your children. And good luck in your day-to-day life of driving past the local children's healthcare facility. God forbid you're on ankle monitor and you've stopped more than 30 seconds at a traffic light because you're going to get nailed. Oh.
Other than that, all her contact with children will have to be supervised. Hey, a lot of you watching this may be business owners or even thinking of starting your own side hustle. I want to introduce you to our sponsor, which is a free all-in-one business management software with tools to help you run your business. I'm a dog owner and decided to build my dog Dash his own website using Odoo's website builder. Your site right now and take a closer look at this disturbing case. But Krista, thanks for coming on with us today.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Fake hairdo.
So let's start with the most recent thing, the fact that this teacher, ex-teacher, I should say, Melissa Curtis, was sentenced to 30 years, but she'll only serve 12 months, a year behind bars. Can you explain that part to me?
I was stunned when I saw that, quite honestly. I thought I originally read it as 30 years, and then I was like, oh no, all but 12 months suspended. Meaning she is only going to serve 12 months and then only 5 years of probation following.
What they're talking about is she got a 30-year sentence. In a lot of states, they may call it a split sentence act. She's going to serve a 30 split 1, which is nobody gets. You might get a 30 split 8 or 10, somewhere in there, but that's really low. She's going to serve 1 year in jail. I'm guessing in prison. If it's in Alabama, it's going to be in the county jail. 365 or less, it's county jail. But it's a year sentence, so I'm guessing she's going to go probably either into Maryland to DOC. So she's going to get a year in prison, a year in the hokey, and then she has 5 years to be a good little girl, not do anything bad, and the rest is discharged. She'll walk. If she screws the pooch, I think she's going to end up telling us she's literally screwed. She'll get a 30-year sentence minus the year that she does. So she'd get 29 years.
That. Now, if she screws up in those 6 years, the 1 year in prison or the 5 years in probation,
yes,
the whole 30 is on the table. So she can't, have any relapses. So, there is at least that hammer in the background. But I was quite surprised. And there has to be some, something, extraordinary
LinkedIn.
that I just didn't see in the stories I read. That was presented to the court that maybe
I want to be your
child
teacher.
But she was very young at the time. She was like a 22-year-old teacher, and it was a middle school student. So this is a young kid.
I wasn't doing that at 21.
I would think that 12 months is a little light on what she will serve.
Oh my God.
Ultimately, so yes, I was stunned.
I was shocked by that too, because again, I saw the 30, thought it was going to be 30, and now she only has this 1 year. But after all of this, when she is eventually...
How many people do this at 18 even? I don't know many 17-year-olds dating that. In fact, I can remember none dating a 15-year-old at 17, because mama and daddy would have freaking put a kibosh all in it. This is, oh my God. Then again, this is a 14-year-old boy's wet dream. Be that as it may, as bad as it is, it's disgusting. But
released, she will have to register as a sex offender for 25 years. And you said she's going to be on probation for 5. What will all of that look like? For the bulk of the rest of her life, almost, she's labeled as this sex.
It's a lifetime in Alabama. And in a lot of states, it's lifetime. I know Florida, I think it is too. So unless you're a juvenile sex offender, not meaning that you committed on a juvenile, meaning you were a juvenile when you did the offense.
Sex offender. How does that change things for her?
Yeah, I was even thinking about that as I was reading that myself. And, how this works, she cannot have any unsupervised contact with children ever again. So her vocation was a teacher. And how does she develop and get close to a child to allow this kind of contact to develop? That is that one-on-one time where that grooming happens. So she cannot have any more time alone with a child ever, only with other people present, except for her own children. And, I guess there's not really much a court can do to interfere with that, your own children. That proclivity is a different type.
No sex offender should have time with any children. But guess what? That's what they do. They find a way. So you can make crap illegal. You can say having a machine gun is illegal. If somebody wants to do it, guess what? They're going to do it. You can say, oh, you can't commit murder, or you have been convicted of this domestic relations offense. You can't have a gun. Okay, I'll just take a hammer and go over there and kill my ex-wife. That's what the guy thinks. They don't care. If I'm going to commit what she did, I don't care that I have been around a child. That's the point. If you commit a murder, or if you're wanting to commit a murder, you don't care about having a gun that you shouldn't have. That's not how this works. People are retarded. They're freaking retards. 99% of America, because you've never been through it. You've never seen it. Literally had a guy, after being told, this piece of paper says you can't be near her. And he said, that's fine, because I'm going to kill that bitch. And he did. It's not fun to live with, but it's what they do.
Type of mental condition, that only a unique few have, fortunately. So any friends and family, they're going to know. You open up one of those sex offender apps. I've got, a bunch of crime apps on my phone. It tells me when there's alerts in the neighborhood, but it also tells me how many sex offenders are nearby me at any given moment. One of them will be her if I was in Maryland.
You mentioned about the one-on-one time. So if we're looking at the crime itself, it happened because this teacher and the then 14-year-old student were spending some time after school together, one-on-one, alone. And you mentioned grooming too. I really always have to wonder, how does it jump from this student-teacher relationship? She's in a position of power to she's having sex with this 14-year-old more than 20 times. I mean, that's a pretty big leap.
Yeah. So what happens typically is, it doesn't just go from, I'm your teacher and now we're having sex. Trust has to develop over time. So what happens is, and this is what other people should be looking out for when they see this contact with teachers, doctors, priests, whoever it is that is surrounding themselves with the little ones. And it is alone time, special gifts that they give that they don't give to others, extravagant sometimes. I've had cases where the teachers have given tickets to, basketball games. You want to go to the Warriors game? Let's go, but that doesn't happen for all of the students. Rides home. Mom, don't worry, I got it. I have to go by your house anyway. I'll drop little, Jimmy off on my way home as well. No, a teacher is not permitted ever under any set of circumstances to give a child a ride home. That special tutoring that might occur that is, on the weekends or at weird hours, so you're just kind of looking for that time. Oftentimes teachers are alone with children and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But it's just when you start looking at this special context that they're giving to any given student that you have to begin to question what's going on. And then over time that develops into, inappropriate touching. That will be pretty innocent at first, whether it's just arm around a shoulder or, a slap on the leg, a little, grab of the face, whatever it might be. And then it just kind of progresses.
How does inappropriate touching become inappropriate? It just is. It's called inappropriate. God, telling you, retards.
From there until the child feels comfortable. And, you're talking about a 14-year-old boy. So this is a child that is, going through probably puberty at this moment and starting to develop these feelings and, urges himself. And this is someone who he trusts, who parents tell their kids, trust your teacher, trust your doctor, trust your priest, trust your police officer. So they're in that trusted corner, right? And so this is how those things begin to happen over time.
Sculpture behind her.
You talked about special
That's
treatments
weird.
too, mentioned potentially giving these students extra things. And in this case, she had actually given him alcohol and marijuana. And again, remember, this boy is in 8th grade.
With
He's 14 years old. He can't even drive yet. How does all of that factor in? I mean, does that make
he
it
could
all the more
drive in
worse?
Georgia, damn it.
Well, and it's part of that, loosening the child up.
Hardship.
You know, you see that in sex offender cases across the board. You and I have talked about Sean Combs before. You know, that is, you know, what he did. He loosened his victims up with alcohol and drugs. You see that with priests. It's the communion wine that they give the altar boys when they're alone in private, because you have to drink that wine. It can't be thrown out because it's been converted to the blood of Christ. But then you're giving it to the child. I mean, how perverted is that? So this is kind of part of that process. It's that drugs and alcohol are part of loosening that child up, making that child feel more comfortable and relaxed. And therefore, it's easier for her to do what she wants to do ultimately with this child.
It really is so disturbing to think about, especially when you're painting that picture of getting this kid tipsy or drunk so their inhibitions are lower. They might do something that they ordinarily wouldn't do. It's really just hard to hear. But in this case, the person was 14 when it happened, and they didn't come forward until they were an adult, almost 10 years later when they came forward and said, hey, this is what happened. Why do you think it might have taken such a long time for this person to feel comfortable breaking the news about what happened with him and his teacher?
This is something that is common across the board with sex abuse survivors. So you often hear that criticism of, oh, you know, now when, 10, 15, 20 years later, they come and this is about a lawsuit or a payday or whatever it might be. But in reality, there's trauma responses. So let's talk about that. It's flight, fear, fawn, or freeze. Those are the common trauma responses. And you got to protect yourself. You got to put yourself in a position where I don't want anything to happen to me anymore. So a lot of times what happens is then that kind of goes to the back of the brain. You're not thinking about it regularly and you kind of push it out as a memory. So you oftentimes talk to survivors of childhood sex abuse, and they don't really come to terms with it until they're in their 30s or 40s, and sometimes even later in life. There was recently a case against Bill Cosby that was tried out here in Santa Monica. The woman was, I think, 16 or 17 years old at the Playboy Mansion when Bill Cosby molested her. And she was in her 60s, I believe, when she finally came forward. So you really have to think about it in the context of the kids thinking that they did something wrong, that they put themselves in this position. They don't want to get in trouble. That's a big thing. Sex with kids, you're going to get in trouble anyway, right? With mom and dad. That's what they're thinking. But they're not thinking, no, this is not the type of thing you will get in trouble for. And parents need to remember that as well. Create an environment where your child feels comfortable to come to you when they're in trouble and know that they're not going to get into trouble from you because they've come to you. So that is another factor that kind of lays into it. So there's shame, guilt, trauma responses are all kind of factored into that.
We know the defendant in this case has been convicted. She's going to serve her now 12 months. But what about any potential lawsuits, the civil side of things against the school? Could this survivor come forward and sue her? What would that look like?
So here in California, and I'm not sure of the statute of limitations in Maryland, but you're seeing this trend across the country. So I would not be surprised if you have statute of limitations lifted for periods of time. There's look back windows right now in a lot of states. In California now, any molestation that occurs with a child after January of this year, there's no statute of limitations. But before that, it was 40th birthday, 18 years plus 22 years. So when they reach the age of the majority, then they have another 22 years to file. What could happen here is looking at the school for liability. So was there any of that grooming occurring that other teachers would have seen, which administrators would have seen, and no one said anything? Was there signs? Were there other students that she molested? I promise you that there are probably other students that she molested, because this never just happens once in a vacuum. That's just not how these things work. They find it's exciting to them, thrilling. They find a new victim a year or two later. And so after this one goes on to the next school. So the schools could be responsible for lack of supervision, lack of training, hiring, retention of this teacher. There could have been red flags in her portfolio before she came, although she was 22. So she probably came there right after college. There are absolutely likelihood of liability against the school district for her conduct as well.
That's something we'll definitely have to keep an eye on to see where the case moves forward. Obviously, a long road ahead for this survivor, but some justice has been served. Krista, thank you for coming on and breaking the case down with us.
Thank you so much for having me anytime.
Maryland investigators say there may be more victims in Curtis's case, and they ask anyone with more information or any survivors to come forward. For Law and Crime, I'm Sierra.
I've never had anybody come into my office and say, hey, I got messed with like 25 years ago. Can I please press charges? Usually they just go to the police. I've never even had a case that was what we call stale. I mean, this 10 years is getting pretty stale. I'll take that back. I know I did have a case where I had to deal with post-conviction relief on a guy that was from 1984, which at the time wasn't illegal. What happened? I got it resolved, thankfully, but that was just a prosecutorial witch hunt. But I don't know. This is crazy. Y'all comment and let me know. Let's look at one more thing, and I'll let you go. Let's see how. We will look at her charging documents. Yeah, cool. Oh, Melissa Marie Curtis. Oops. No, I guess everybody has their address anyway. I got this off the, I think it was NBC. All right. 2 charges. At least initial. 3rd degree SO. Oh, no, excuse me. 4. 2 3rd-degree SOs. 3. That's not that many. 3? That's it? 20, 30 plus times? Man, they could have nailed her for each individual offense that he could recall. And we have an essay of a minor as well. Women will treat her well in prison. She'll do well compared to men. And well, man, I'll make it out after a year. I've always had the idea of these essay offenders. Give them a year. Put it right in the back of their shirt. Chomo. That's it. You come out after a year, you're good. Chances are you won't. Prisoners don't take kindly. Not at all. So let's see what we have here. Oh, actually, there's a lot more. Oh, crap. I can't show because this stupid thing's in the way. Let me look on the original. I can tell y'all. Give me a second. All right. Oh, she has much more than I thought. 1, 2, 3, SO 3rd degree. 1, 2. I'm not sure what that criminal charge is without looking up the statute. I'm not even going to say it because I'm afraid YouTube will ding it. 4th VAGINT POS auth. Then SO 4th person POS auth. Well, here we go. Look at the actual printout. Did cause SA to victim A minor, the defendant having temporary responsibility for the supervision of such child against peace, government, and dignity of the state. SA 3rd degree on or about 1/1/15 to 5/1/15, Montgomery County, Maryland, did unlawfully commit a sexual and SO in the 3rd degree upon victim A in violation of CR 3-307. Anti-Dakota, Maryland, the same. Victim A violation, the same. So it's 3, 10-year sentence. 25 is the worst. 25 years for the first one. SA of a minor. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe there's statutes because he was 14 or under. Usually states are 12 and under, which is fucked up in and of itself. It should be until they're old enough to consent. You're either old enough to sign a contract and have sex, or you're either old enough to have sex and not sign a contract. It's ridiculous. So most states, you're 15 or 16 is the age of consent, but psych, it's really not. I mean, because if you're 18 and you hook up with a 16-year-old, you're going to prison, statutory rape. So they can't engage in a contract, but they can consent to sex unless the other boy or girl is over the age of consent of 16. It's stupid. It'd be easier to say, you know what? You're 16, go make good choices. Don't want to tell you. Or make it 18. Either way. I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if I can't pull this back up. We'll go to the next one. Here we go. Oh, it's a little blurry. SA 3rd degree on or about did lawfully commit 3rd degree upon a victim A in violation the same as that one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there, if they had done those consecutive, that'd be 60 years. They never do. They do them concurrent. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that those letters actually mean what I thought they meant. That's yeah, that's okay. That's interesting. That's gross, but interesting. I know you can read it. You can see my little mouse. Person of authority engage in blank blank with victim A and minor, or at the time of the blank blank. God, YouTube is so gay. Was a student. I'm probably going to get banned for the comment I just made. Was a student enrolled in the school where said person was authority was employed. So I'm not so sure why it matters about the type of interconnectiveness that the two had. I think that it'd be more important that, well, no, it would make it more important. That is it. The fact that she's a teacher is secondary. It just makes it worse. So he should have made it like a 10-year sentence, and then boom, oh, you're a teacher? Oh, that's another 10. Let's see. This one, CR3-308, C2. Oh, VA was a student enrolled at the school. Ah, shoot. At the school. They're employed. It looks like they're mostly just they're just copies. Yeah, C2, C2, C1. Did have SA with victim A, a minor who at the time of sexual act was a student enrolled at the school. That seems like it's the same one. Not understanding why it's something different. But it says it's C2 and C1, but they look the same to me. I don't get it. I guess it's because it's sexual rather than an intercourse type contact. Semantics. Let's see. This one, charge 12. Man, this girl got some charges. 1 year. Did as a person in position of authority engage in acts with victim A, a minor who at the time of the act was a student enrolled at the school. See, that seems like a lesser included. I don't understand it. Apparently, like any other state, they can just start throwing them at the damn wall like spaghetti and see what sticks. To me, that's a lesser included. It's too close to the actual charging act, but it doesn't matter. I know this is exactly how they roll. We have thrown out the book. We don't operate the way we used to 100 years ago. And I know there's going to be all say, oh, that's good. No, it's not. It's not good, sadly. We have literally thrown the book of common law out the window. This one, charge 14, engage in contact. The victim A, a minor at the time of the contact was a student, right? It's all the same stuff. Yeah, it's all the same. It's just like 16 of them. Statement of charges. Let's see. I, the undersigned, apply for a statement of charges and a summons or warrant, which may lead to the arrest of the above named defendant from 1/1. Wow, that's that was probably the farthest back they could go. January 1st, 15. Let's just make it a round number. May the 1st of 15. Montgomery County, Maryland. Isn't that Baltimore? I don't know Maryland. Detective Williams. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Detective began an investigation into the SA abuse allegations of a now adult male victim by Montgomery County public school teacher Melissa Marie Curtis, DOB 71392. Dear God. I don't even think Use Your Illusion had come out by then from Guns N' Roses. Oh my God, I'm old. I mean, I am old. I mean, you can see the gray. I'm 47. I'm old. The incidents occurred for several months until the end of April 15. Several occasions, including Montgomery County Public School, inside the vehicle. Their residences. So not just her house, his too. And we're still going to treat him as a 14-year-old, of course. You know, he would, God forbid, his name come out. Lord Almighty. Let me see here. Where is this? Why is this not working? All right. is not what I wanted to do. All right. Victim disclosed when he was in 8th grade, touched his gym dog with her hand on top of his clothing while in a classroom. Stated then, oh, okay. All righty. I know you can read this, so we don't have to worry about the YouTube censors. God, I hate YouTube for that. Used to be a free speech platform. And this is serious stuff that people need to know about. Not only have I represented people that unfortunately have done this, I've had family on the other end. Very, very close. So it's not like I take this as a joke. The reason I chose this was to bring some light to it, because most people want to go, oh no, I don't want to hear it, don't want to hear it, don't want to hear it. And well, guess what? It freaking happens. So grow a pair and shut the hell up and listen. But unfortunately, YouTube won't do it. Let's see. She was employed as a teacher in 8th grade, October 5th. That's a pretty exact date. 2023. Victim A was, he was interviewed. Duh. By Special Victims Investigation, Rockville, Maryland. She had touched his gym dog with her hand over the top of his clothing. And then another incident. Where he kissed her. It's still illegal, guys. Don't even touch. Do air hugs. Oh, this one's bad. Germantown, Montgomery County, Maryland, inside a bedroom and in the. I'm impressed for a 14-year-old, to be honest. I remember it was 2 different rooms. He made it that far. That's amazing. It's sad, though. He was only 14. So she touched his Jemmy again with her feet. Her feet. Okay, that was weird. Okay. She got him drunk and stoned and encouraged him to go south of the border for her. And they did. Victim A disclosed another incident where she had intercourse with him at his residence in Montgomery County. How do you I'll never understand how criminals do this stuff. Ever. More than 20 times when he was in just 8th grade. Really? Damn, dude. These are all the notice of rights to a defendant and for their notices to appear, etc., when they're getting bail or if they get released. Most of them, a lot of times on these charges, they don't even get released. They're either held without bond or they're held with like an absurd amount of money on it, which sometimes a lot of the times they need to be. They don't need to make a bond, period. So, yeah, this is the same crap in Spanish. You see it all the time. I was surprised she didn't sign it. Well, so a 30-year sentence for 1 year if time is all she got to serve. Man, she got a deal. Damn, her lawyer did a good job. Damn. It's not something to laugh about, but because this stuff happens every day, every minute of every day. But to see, you have to joke about it for some part, that as a 14-year-old boy, like I said, it's a wet dream for him. What kind of people do this stuff though? Are they just, what is it? A 20-something-year-old girl just has a moment of weakness, or are they mentally ill? And is it as bad for her to have done it as a man? What if it was in reverse? What if it was she were a he and the boy were a girl? Do you think he would have got just 30 years and serve a prison 1 year in prison? Hell no, his ass would be under the prison. Getting pounded every night. In more ways than one. It's disgusting. It's not only disgusting what they've done, it's disgusting what we do. We don't even do justice equitably. This is a joke. Yeah, she'll be out. She'll be out after a year. She probably won't even serve that. I don't even know if she'll serve that. If she gets good time, I don't know if she'll get credited it for less than a year, but if she gets good time, I mean, usually it's 10 days for every 30. Good time. So, I mean, if she were to get good time, hell, she'll be out in 7 months. Somewhere in there, 7.5. Right at, yeah, 7 months. I mean, this is the kind of crap that we do in society now. This is what we allow. This is what we don't condone it, but no one ever punishes them. This is what happens. And then you see like guys like I had that had an IQ of 68, 72. Not condone. It doesn't mean what they did was right, but it doesn't mean they should have had 30 to 60 years. Guys that really and truly couldn't read, literally were retarded, and had relations with, I don't know, one guy was in his late 20s and she was 17, 18. Alabama's 19 for majority. It's not, the closeness in age was not there. They do have a closeness in age gap law that allows for them to not prosecute every offense for statutory intercourse, involuntary intercourse. They do have that ability, but it's few and far between. It's so few and far between. So she has to register for 25 years. That's it. Does it? And she's done. She's always going to be a felon. But yeah, if she were a guy, man, she wouldn't be getting this look. This is a joke. All right. Well, thanks for joining. Hope I've entertained you and given you some elucidation to the law. Come back. Hopefully we'll have some more videos soon. Thanks.